You watch what's it called? AEW. AEW Dynamite. You got the number, Joe?
Yeah, 620.
I was gonna say it was good. I was gonna assume it was gonna be bad because I was watching this at 8 o'clock.
622.
Do you have the quarter hours to see what did good and what didn't?
Coming up right
now.
Boom.
But bro, let me tell you something. We talked about WWE's TV ratings don't really matter right now because they've gotten their new rights deals. So they're going to be like we can look at the trends of their ratings for the next 3 years, and year over year, if it gets worse and worse and worse, they might have difficulty with their new rights deal. But right now, their ratings are irrelevant. To be honest with you,
I don't know that we're going to have the same access because Netflix reports top shows and stuff, but I've never seen a Netflix quarter hour.
It doesn't matter. They're going to streaming, so it's complete. It's like we're getting the numbers like they do on Peacock. It doesn't, bro. They're so now that they've actually gone to streaming and off network TV for Raw. It's like it's all part of video content creation, video content. Streaming, YouTube is just all. It's another streaming, thing they're using. So just all what their business is going to be doing now is like their quarter hours, their quarterly earnings, and whether or not the crowds are selling out. Which they haven't slowed. Bro, you saw how many people. Bro, Baltimore's a live crowd too.
Yes,
so that was yeah. So this is AEW. Like they were in Baltimore here. Right? Wait. WWE was in Baltimore, right? For Raw, right?
Yeah, I have to close this for a second so I can. Boom. AEW was in. Should really be at the top. Winston-Salem.
They're Winston-Salem. Okay. All right. So pull those numbers up again, Joe.
And if we got a couple of minutes here, I sent you guys the article that somehow Warner Brothers discovered a $10 billion loss and had to report it and their stock tanked and all that. I'm curious as we get closer here, is it a shoo-in that AEW even remains here? Or are we going to see a change?
I have no idea. Dude,
yeah, I know we don't know, but yeah.
Okay, they're in the middle of negotiations still, and like you're Warner Brothers, and you look at this chart for Monday. What are you thinking? Like they want more money, and you look at this going, dude, how can they be asking for more money?
They're not. This show specifically didn't maintain interest. Yeah,
their original deal was $40 million a year for Dynamite, right? Mm-hmm. The first show they did in Dynamite 5 years ago was 1.4 million people.
Yeah.
How many people watch at the end of this show?
535, and then 516 for the overrun.
516,000 people.
Yep.
Like you've literally lost. They've almost lost from almost 1 million people from their first show, and you actually think that they should be getting an increase in the rights fees?
Yeah,
that
last quarter is 2/3 less.
Well, they lost
more than 2/3 actually.
Yeah, so we don't really include the overrun. I mean, the 822 is when that's recorded when
that's the first segment. Yeah.
Well, that's not the first segment. That the first segment ends at 7:32. You know what I'm saying?
8:32.
Yeah, 7:32. Bro, they had 822 coming out of 100,000 people drop off during the MJF match.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Mariah May match against some no-name girl lost almost another 100,000. They almost lost 200,000 people right off the bat in 30 minutes.
That's rough.
All right, so let's talk about the show. This show is going to be very quick to review because I don't know if you felt the same thing. Not much happened here. So they had this match with. They start off with for some reason Tony loves to do this. I don't know why he thinks like this should have gone on first. But MJF's like your top draw. You should position him to where there's anticipation and you build up to his segment instead of throwing him out there right at the very beginning. So he wrestles Kyle Fletcher. I don't know if Don Callis, when he's doing commentary, he sounds like I don't think he knows where they're going with his Will Ospreay Fletcher thing, because he's not really narrating their storyline when he's doing commentary. He's just calling the match. I think he's missing a huge opportunity to be entertaining. He's not really entertaining in these. He's literally just calling the match and acting like he calls New Japan stuff.
I did enjoy though the Proto Star nickname. Did you catch that? I like that.
Yeah. So
Do you know what a Proto Star is? This is so.
No.
This is Don. Don found this or just knew it. A Proto Star is a cloud of gas and dust in space believed to develop into a star. I thought that was interesting. That's an interesting, unique nickname there.
All right. So the gimmick here is for this match is that they like had locked Ospreay in his locker room where he couldn't get out. Okay. They barricaded his dressing room. This match was like 17 minutes. MJF bit Fletcher and set him up for Tombstone Piledriver. The Fletcher avoided. MJF went for Panama Sunrise, but Fletcher sat down for a 2 count. Fletcher hit an inverted piledriver for 2 count. Then Don Callis walked to ringside and protested the count, then tossed a screwdriver to Fletcher. And Callis distracted the referee while Fletcher thought about using the screwdriver before tossing it aside. The MJF low-blowed Fletcher, then hit him with the kangaroo kick and then finished him off with the brainbuster. After the match, Will Ospreay managed to get out of his barricaded dressing room, and in the ring, MJF hit the referee with his title belt, had his Dynamite ring, and struck Fletcher with it. And MJF threw punches at him. And here we go again. Completely meaningless and unnecessary. Here he bled. MJF looked in the camera and said, "This is what he's going to do to Ospreay." He was going to do what Ospreay didn't have the do, and he set him up for the Tiger Driver. the move that done correctly hurts the guy for a shoot. So we're going to. Like the other moves will work. This move is a shoot. We're going to do this move for a shoot. And the guys, I don't know. This is such a dumb. Trying to sell this Tiger Driver storyline is just only your nerdiest of nerdy fans are going to be interested in this. This is stupid. What do you think about this? So Ospreay comes out. He has his head. He has blood all over his shirt. I don't know.
Well, they better have a payoff for the Tiger Driver. I'm assuming they're going to do it all in.
Why would you do it? It's for shoot to break a guy's neck.
This was because they keep bringing it up. That's why. So you're assuming they're going to use it somewhere down the line. Kyle Fletcher is actually a very good wrestler. His stock rose. This match was way too long for my taste. Good match. Obviously, the reason they made him bleed is because they're trying to get heat on him. And no, you beat up my friend. The screwdriver thing. Nobody cares about that anymore. I think the only guy that ever used a screwdriver was Don Callis, right? Or who used it?
As far as let me see.
Yeah, Don Callis. No. Yeah. Somebody used it on Kenny. Didn't somebody use it on Kenny?
Yeah, I thought it was Don, right? No, who was it? Somebody used it on Kenny. I think that's the only.
It was Don. It was Don. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Don. He's the only guy that has ever used it, right?
For some reason, as I look it up, it says Danielson used it on Hangman Page, but that's completely unrelated. So maybe it's not being utilized as a special weapon.
All right, not that big a deal. Not that big a deal. Then Don, his whole family, Fletcher doesn't listen to him. Ospreay doesn't listen to him. Takeshita isn't even there. I mean, kind of a weak family, or you need to recruit new members. Nothing.
Right. Can I ask you this about the Tiger Driver, DI? Because the way that you described it and stuff, it just made me think of how they used to protect the pile driver and make it illegal and so vicious. So your basic problem with it is, we're not pretending it's dangerous. It is dangerous, right?
Bro, you're dropping the guy. Okay, you've got the guy's hands hooked behind his back. He can't
protect himself, right?
You're dropping him on his head, and he can't put his hands down to brace the fall on the mat before he hits. So you're dropping the guy's neck straight down on the thing, and if he gets twisted, bro, it's
Joe. Disco's actually given this explanation at least 7 times. Were you not aware of this?
No. Well, I'm just trying to create content, but I just wanted to get it elaborated on again.
Let me give you Pal's POV, Konnan. Man, they just won't let go of Callis's lame screwdriver. This is a strong show opening match with the expected approach of MJF beating up Ospreay's better to get to Ospreay. If Ospreay hits MJF with the Tiger Driver at Wembley, I can already see wheelchair-bound MJF's follow-up promos.
That's spot on.
But I'm just saying, if I'm MJF, I'm not even taking that move. It's stupid, I want to make a point here, though, that this, this is the difference with their show and the WWE show. WWE had enough time to give everybody on their roster, on the Raw roster, a spot of the show with at least 1.5 to 2 minutes worth of stuff, right? This match here, the whole thing was based around the post-match angle. You didn't need to go 17 minutes. Like you don't need to go 17 minutes if the end of the storyline in the episodic storytelling is the nugget for next week.
You gotta get in a good match. You gotta get in a good match. That's all that matters.
Like this
bro,
thing was
it's way too long.
Way too long. Bro, they were going. I think they went through 2 commercial breaks.
I was
watching the picture. Yeah, I'm like, come on, like, honestly, if MJF the character is like, okay, give this guy some offense. Maybe make it 50-50, but just make the match 8 to 10 minutes. They're going back and forth. You don't need 17 minutes to make this guy. And he shouldn't go 17 minutes with MJF. MJF is a far.
But I will say, to me, his stock rose because he put on that was a really good match.
Right. Okay. So they did a Bryan Danielson Jarrett video package, and Danielson explained that he questioned Jarrett. He was bothered by Jarrett questioning whether he'd go all in. This was unnecessary. Danielson said he was happy that Ricky Steamboat was a special guest. Like, why is Ricky Steamboat a special guest in this?
Because he's Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
They were in Winston-Salem, right? All right. So Mariah May is wrestling some girl I've never seen before on this show, Viva Van. All right.
Right.
And they announced, I have no idea who Viva Van is. There was no package, no nothing. And the announcers didn't really have anything to say about this girl. All right.
Right.
She was just like in this match, which was a showcase for May, but which made me think, okay, this is a squash. There's a 6-minute squash, which is way too long for a squash. After the match, a crew member passed a gift wrap poster board to May, and she removed the paper. There was a photo of Toni Storm cradling her head. On the back of the poster said, "Die, Mariah, die." So this is very corny. Do you know what this was? Remember when Jericho had the angle with Kevin Owens and had the friends thing, the best friends? He would read the thing, the back of it or thing. Bro, yep. This is a Jimmy Jacobs segment. Okay.
There you go.
Because Jimmy Jacobs is writing that story. So they had the Die Mariah Die on the back. And Storm showed up and attacked May, and Storm wanted to hit her with the high heel, but referees and security guards intervened. They had to pull apart. And then Storm held up the sign after May was out of the ring. So it's like, that's 2 straight weeks of pull aparts, right?
Okay, I want to read you something. Perfect. So this was written by a writer for the Augusta Free Press, DI. Ray Petrie wrote this, right? Okay. And one of his misses for the show says this. After the show, well, this is going to describe something later, but he basically says 3 pull-aparts in one night. How can any pull-apart feel special when it happens multiple times every week? Tony needs to curb his pull-apart inflation because apparently there's going to be several more,
No, well, that's the problem with the show when you don't have a production meeting is when you're going over this and you have 3 pull-aparts in the show, somebody's bringing up in the production meeting saying, hey, bro, that's too many pull-aparts here. And you change one of the segments so it's not repetitive, but they don't have production meetings. So this is what happens when you don't have a production meeting. The show, things come on the show like repeatedly. In this, the same angle shows up on the show twice sometimes, which would never ever happen. Okay, if had anybody competent in production meetings, they would say, "Wait, aren't we doing that? We're doing that in segment 2." Is what you'd be saying, and then somebody go, "Yeah, why we can't do this in segment 8? We already did this in segment 2."
Yep.
Conan, to reiterate that to me, Conan. It's like, I don't want to sound like I'm the only one that's saying.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. And let me just say, Viva Van, I know her because she worked in Tijuana for many years because she lives in LA, and like she's been traveling the world and the United States, like honing her craft. You could have gotten a pretty good match out of her and then beaten her. This was a 6-minute squash. You could have done this in 2 minutes.
Right.
Way too long. Very boring. That's why the ratings dipped.
Let me give you my useless Joe fact of the week here. Viva Van also was at Expo Lucha that we were at and also wrestled for Future Stars of Wrestling, DI. But here's the useless fact other than those 2. Viva Van is the first ever female professional wrestler of Vietnamese American descent, and she raised money to fund the construction of the first ever wrestling ring and the first ever wrestling school in Vietnam Pro Wrestling.
So somebody posted this on Twitter. So Jack Perry had a video with footage of Darby Allin setting him on fire during Anarchy in the Arena.
Okay, did you see this?
Yeah, then they cut the Taco Bell commercial in the middle of it, right?
What did that? I didn't think it was a good. I didn't think it was a good vignette.
Bro, they're trying to make Jack. I don't know how they're booking Jack Perry here. He should be a cocky. But they're trying to book him like this badass. I don't know. It's like I don't know. This, like I said, there's so many miscasting of characters on the show. It's hysterical. So then Darby stood backstage and said people have asked him why he didn't just set Jack Perry on fire and be done with it. And all said it was simple. He wouldn't show up at All In.
Now that's
All In. Wait. Let me finish here.
Yeah.
All In listed upcoming shows and said Perry didn't have to show up for them, but added that he has to show up at Wembley. What'd you think of this? Darby's good. Darby's a good character. I mean,
Everything he does is believable,
and he saves a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
he's one of the most. Yeah,
bro, like they'll be having a brawl, and Darby will show up for the brawl, and the brawl gets better.
Right.
Right? So, yeah,
because he'll take wicked bumps.
Yeah,
and when he punches, it looks real. You know what I'm. Even though it looks unorthodox, everything looks good especially for a guy that's small.
Right.
Wasn't it a little? We talked about this when it aired, and everyone was kind of like, why did they even air the Punk Perry footage? I guess it was trying to make Punk look bad, of course. But if they were planning to make Perry more of a tough guy, I mean, how counterproductive was it to show that footage where Punk just kind of mushed his face backstage and, Perry didn't really do any, it's not like Perry came out on top of that, So.
Well, let me tell you, so the thing with Darby is even though he's not muscular, bro, when you throw your strikes with heat, it's like it looks good because a lot of guys throw the fake slow punch because they don't want to hurt, they don't. But it's funny because when Rey Mysterio first started, okay, he didn't really have a lot of muscle on him at all, right? He was just a small guy, and his whole gimmick was flying around everything. But when Rey started working out and started getting some definition in his shoulders and his arms, bro, the Rey looked like when he would punch you, it looked good because the guy looks like he's got some muscles. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, undersized guys can wrestle above their size if you look like you know how to fight. And Darby Allin looks like he knows how to fight, So this segment was next coming up. Brian Keith coming out for his match against Shabata. Jericho comes out. I like the look now with him with the jeans with him and what's name with the blazers with no shirt on. They kind of look like kind of like douchebag guys, So Shabata against Brian Keith. Jericho's doing commentary, and Shabata ate a headbutt, then tripped Keith and planted him face first. Keith is, I don't know how he fits in with the learning tree. Go out of place here, but I put Keith in a claw hold, and Shabata took Keith down and put him in a cross arm breaker for a submission. After the match, Jericho and Big Bill put the boots to Shabata. And then Keith and Big Bill held Shabata while Jericho set her for belt shot with the FTW title. A We Want Hook chant broke out, and Hook comes out. There was a big pop, and Keith rolled out of the ring, and Hook cleared Big Bill from the ring, and so so Jericho burned this guy, okay, backstage. He comes out, and what does he do? To get Jarrett? He's so angry. What was he doing, Konnan? Did you watch this?
Yeah,
sort of forearming him.
Big Bill and
Big Bill does this spot very poorly. He runs at the guy.
Yeah, and he moves out of the way.
And he jumps over the top.
You look dumb. Yeah, you look dumb. Yeah. And then he goes off on He's forearming Jericho and he's hitting him to the body.
Right. Let me tell you something.
We talked about nicknames and team. Sorry, Dave. We talked about nicknames and team names on this show that don't necessarily hit the spot. What do you think about Hook being referred to as the cold-hearted, handsome devil? How do you like that? Is that thumbs up, thumbs down?
But Hook comes out and felt necessary to forearm Jericho until they pulled him out. But dude, if you're not going to get disqualified in a run-in, brother, you can punch the guy if you know how to do it. But let me make a point here. What was I going to say? Never mind. I don't think I had it.
Well, bro, they've been doing this for over a month. Not interested. Shabata and Learning Tree, and this guy's so short. His pants are all up to his chest like Urkel. He's got he means nothing, bro.
All right.
This meant nothing to me.
Right. So they had travel issues. Go ahead. Yeah, me too.
I just wish Jericho was in something more interesting. I mean, this was good at the beginning, and it maybe kind of ran its course already. Maybe.
Orange Cassidy's interviewed by Renee Paquette, and he said because of travel issues, his teammates were not there. But he said he would go through with the scheduled match against Roderick Strong, Rush, and the Beast Mortis. He had a couple local boys who were looking for a fight, and asked Paquette if she would wrestle for him, and she said no. Hangman Page was interviewed by Paquette. She brought up his loss to Darby and said he hasn't been getting the results he wanted. Said there's one man he wants, but there's a bunch of dumbasses getting in the way, and said he would get what he wants. Then he did a sit down interview with Swerve and Jim Ross. Let me see. I think that there's some lines here that I liked and some that I. Okay. Swerve spoke about how physical his match with Bryan Danielson would be, and Ross mentioned that Danielson is talking like this will be it, win, lose, or draw. Swerve said that the situations were reversed. Would Danielson or anyone else care that he would be on his way out? And Swerve said they should. Swerve said he doesn't really care about Danielson being a father. Ross said he thinks it will be the toughest match that Swerve has, and Swerve questioned why, and that's what will happen when Danielson's body gives out on him. Ross asked if Swerve can beat Danielson. Swerve said he can and will. Swerve said Danielson's legacy will belong to him. So I don't know. What do you think of this?
Just did nothing to make me want to see the match, even though I do want to see it anyways, just to see what happens. Jim asked a question, reminded me of the live stream we did yesterday where people were asking dumb questions. He goes, "Well, do you think you can beat him at All In?" What's he supposed to say? No, Jim, right. I don't think I can beat him. You know
what the problem is here? Let me. The problem with Swerve, okay? Swerve is Swerve is acting too much like a babyface. Okay, The Rock never changed a thing with his character when he turned babyface. He still would bury anybody he was going against, right?
Or his teammates,
or his team, everybody.
Buried Foley nonstop.
Swerve got over when he was like burying Adam Page on the mic, and now since he's like a babyface. I don't know if he thinks like he needs to be like nicer to these guys, bro. You should not change that part of your character because that's what got you over, and that's what makes you interesting. When you're acting like a babyface and like saying the babyface thing, because it's just like I said, I'm not invested in this. You know, I would be more invested if he was saying things that would cause Bryan Danielson to try to up his game to say things back to him. That makes fights interesting. You know. They're not really saying anything interesting to her about each other here. You know, that I'm going to beat him. Can you beat him? Yeah, I can beat him. Like,
that aside,
like whatever, right?
I agree with what Konnan said about that question. That aside, I always like seeing JR. I wanted to look real quick and see about his contract. And he signed for another year a couple of months ago in March, it looks like. So I'd like to make a prediction for next year that Jim Moross will call a match at WrestleMania after his AEW contract expires. I think there's a reason it was 1 year in that timing. Just an assumption.
Okay, so then we go to the Orange Cassidy. Now FTR comes out with Orange Cassidy. The wrestling Roderick Strong, Roosh, and the Beast Mortis. Okay, now let me tell you something. You know the Beast Mortis, Konnan, right? That's Taurus.
Yeah, right.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's been on Collision. He's been on. I've seen him on Collision. I've seen him on Dynamite. I've seen him wrestle like. I think he's been in 5 or 6 matches that I've had to like. I've seen Collision a few times, 5 or 6 times at least. I don't recall him ever having a promo or a video package. Like I literally know nothing about this kid. He's a guy dressed up in a bull outfit.
Yeah, you're supposed to go on YouTube or Google and find out. I guess like all the other fans. Imagine if you had to do that. If you're watching a boxing match and you had to Google everybody's name and find out their history. So what are video packages and commentators for? Right?
I have no idea. So they had these guys at ringside, Taven, and Taven was getting heat on Cassie at ringside with the worst kicks that you've ever seen. It literally this was I don't know what the kid was doing. It was the fakest looking, and they kept the camera on it. Like any decent director would have gotten away from that. They showed him kick him 5 or 6 times with the super weak kicks. And then Dax and them, they go over. They hit the Shatter Machine, and bro, 16 minutes and 50 seconds this match was. Joe, let me pull the ratings back up again. Oh, Joe's gone. What did you think of this? Any comments? So let me finish. After the match, the Acclaim come out. Caster's mic didn't work. How great is that? Hardwood said he respects what Caster and Bones have done for AEW. This goes beyond AEW. The security came out and stood in front of the Acclaim, and Hardwood said he's not as good on the mic as the Acclaim. He told him to break through the wall and fight, and then they had another pull apart. Why would you say I'm not as good on the mic as you guys? What do you think of this, Konnan?
They're putting a lot of time into it, and they wanted to elevate Acclaim by putting with FTR, especially after they said they were a comedy act, and they want to prove they're not. But I just think Acclaim's lost a lot of steam. They don't really interest him. They don't really interest me. I do like the Bowens guy. I think he's a really good worker, but the whole angle does not interest me.
And then FTR is trying to get so much mileage out of their career. Like if you go on Dax's Twitter,
right?
Every post is wrestling, right? And he's talk like this is a career defining match for me. Was in those clips of him and the Briscoes and stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant acclaimed because I was like, that's
no.
a defining moment.
Dax Harwood will do that. But I'm saying these guys don't know how to sell their matches.
He's a good guy, bro. If you met him, you'd like him.
I'm sure I would, but I don't like his on. I wish.
But he did say he would come on the show or Las Vegas, and he did neither. So.
So the patriarchy. Is Joe back yet? Joe, pull up the what do you call? Pull up the rating, the numbers again for AEW Dynamite.
The quarters.
Yeah. Because this is a 6-man match with no stakes. So 580. It lost 23,000 people. So next was the patriarchy delivered a backstage promo and spoke about the House of Black and BC on the face for the AEW Trios titles. He made some calls. He got HO the House of Black versus the BCG booked it. Blackpool Combat Club booked it a match to determine the number one contenders.
Are you excited about that?
Cage said the winners will face the patriarchy at All In. Okay.
People have been saying, and it's been speculated forever, that the House of Black guys are going to leave or Malachi is going to leave. And to me, that Malachi Black, and no fault of his own, I wouldn't know who to blame really, but it's been a disappointment over there. But what do you guys like? Compared to that, who's the biggest disappointment for you guys that has come into AEW and not been utilized or whatever?
Let me tell you this. I wonder if Buddy Murphy re-signed, right?
I believe, yeah. I'll double.
Okay, so I think they're staying. Okay, which is kind of weird because I've heard our sources tell us that they're paying to deal with backstage. They're constantly turning down creative, but I guess they didn't want him going back to WWE, so I guess they re-signed him. But I wonder if, based on all the hearing that these guys were paying, that the WWE really didn't want them back. Like, why would you know what I'm saying? They said they sound like they're troublemakers a little bit. So why would they want them back in a locker room that's doing massive success right now? You know?
And
you heard anything about that, Konnan? Do you know anything going on there?
No, I haven't. When I've been around them, they don't sound like troublemakers. They seem like everybody else on that roster is wondering, why don't you do more with me?
Right.
What is this? And I just talked to somebody today, that a good friend of ours, and later on I'll tell you who he was, where he's like, I don't even ask questions. I don't care anymore. Just pay me. And like, that seems to be a lot of people's, mind process.
Well, there's not a number, but Meltzer says here that Buddy did sign a few months ago. But the only reason I'm reading is because he said it's very lucrative and that Tony will not release anyone to go to WWE. So Buddy cashed in, apparently.
Yeah.
So Camille against Jasmine Howe and Clara Carter in a
handicap match.
She beats the two of them in a minute 40 seconds. She's looked good so far. So I reiterated that last week. So after the match, Monet told the crowd to say hello to the Brick House Camille, and then she tossed both opponents out of the ring. Then Monet told the crowd to say hello to their CEO. Monet said not to worry about Britt Baker because the EVP suspended her and they didn't have to worry about her at All In. Then Monet told the crowd again that Baker wasn't there. Monet said her titles show that she's the best in AEW. And then Tony Schiavone stood on the stage and said Christopher Daniels just informed me that Tony Khan overruled the Elite and lifted the suspension Baker. Schiavone said Baker was available via satellite. The Baker appeared on the big screen, said Monet can't stop her, and said she follows through with things to the end, unlike Monet, who takes her ball and goes home. Baker said AEW is just a flavor of the month for Monet, whereas AEW is her home. Baker said she will win the TNT title because the first woman to beat Monet in AEW, and then Baker wondered how she would get her hands on Monet. Baker said she'll figure out a way, and you can trust her because she's a doctor. She closed the DMD line. This was not segment didn't really get over that well.
Well, here's a problem I have with it. It started off really hot, and like every week it's gotten weaker. Like this did nothing absolute. Bro, she was not good on the mic, even as a heel.
Right.
She has just problems like talking.
She's not getting heat.
Yeah,
like she wasn't saying. Right. It's like that she was talking in a way that wasn't getting a reaction at all.
That's part of
it.
So and it wasn't a good promo to get heat. You're absolutely correct.
Right.
And again, instead of having a pull apart, instead of having them beat each other and then maybe, get heat on, come in, maybe hit Camille, hit her, get some heat on her, and then Camille puts her down. They did this stupid thing from backstage. She should have pretended she was somewhere else, but actually was in the building. They did nothing to really build this up.
Do you think that Tony Khan overruling the Bucks was just, means to an end? Or do you think they're actually going to pursue that and maybe even have them have like a debate in the ring or something? And would that
I think they just wanted an excuse
to have Britt on
have
suspension.
Britt on the screen and have the verbal confrontation. So
Got it.
that's
So it's not going to go anywhere.
Well, why do that, Disco, when you can have her run out there and get some heat on her and have a, you know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe she wasn't there because of travel, too. Because they had travel issues because of
there was a lot of people that couldn't make it because of the hurricane. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so next is the Bryan Danielson versus Jeff Jarrett Anything Goes match. They fought all over the place in the arena, like up in the stands. They go 16 minutes. Danielson and Jarrett traded a bunch of punches near the end, and Danielson avoided the stroke and shoved Jarrett into a chair that was wedged in the corner. Then Danielson put a chair in front of his knee while performing a Saku knee, and then got the 3 count. After the match, Jarrett, Lethal, and Dutt came out to check on Jarrett, while Wheeler Yuta and Ricky Steamboat checked on Bryan Danielson. Jarrett had a lot of blood in his jawline, was helped to his feet by Steamboat's crew. Jeff got color. How funny is that? Jeff got color. Yeah. I need to text him and say, hell yeah, hell of a deal, color. Danielson applauded Jarrett.
He wasn't a big fan of doing that.
Hey, now, mind you, these guys just had a knockout, drag-out brawl, okay? Mm-hmm. So the Danielson applauded Jarrett, and then Steamboat raised both of their arms, and then Danielson and Jarrett shook hands and hugged, okay? So then Strickland and a dancing Prince Nana made their entrance. Swerve spoke as he walked down the ramp, and Swerve said they just saw 3 TBS legends in Jarrett, Steamboat, and himself. And Swerve said there are 3 men who have defined pro wrestling on the network. Swerve entered the ring and said Danielson is one of the greatest of all time. And he said that's why it'll be great for him and a huge honor when he retires him at Wembley and Danielson's legacy becomes his. And Swerve said he wouldn't hesitate to deliver the kill shot. Swerve asked Danielson how he was doing. He said if that's what Jarrett did, then imagine what he would do to him. And then Swerve said he needed a little warm-up and proposed facing Utah next week. Utah stepped forward. Then Swerve told Danielson he wanted to have him a front row seat while he shows him why he is the most dangerous man in AEW. Swerve tossed a mic at Utah's chest and let it drop. Then it held up his title belt and went face-to-face with Danielson. Okay, on the heat scale, Konnan, this post-match on a 0 to 10, how would you rate it on the heat scale?
Who gives Red Hot Cheetos?
I wouldn't even say Red Hot Cheetos. I would just say regular Cheetos.
Regular Cheetos. Yeah,
Cheetos brutal. On the heat scale. You know, right? Bro, this is a brutal way.
Can you imagine how a Kevin Sullivan or a Paul Lee or a Triple H would have booked this ending? It's ridiculous.
I mean, 2 guys are beating of each other after 60 minutes. They get up and hug and raise each other's hands. Then Swerve comes out and talks about how.
Bro, we had the same problem. So listen to this.
I'm like, you know what?
So the last press conference we had in AAA, right? Everybody was putting each other over. And I go, bro, you need an antagonist to go out there and get heat. Everybody's saying, I like you and I respect you. That's not going to get any views, right?
Right.
And so yesterday they had another last pre-Triple Mania press conference. Same thing. Oh, I respect you. I grew up watching you. I like you. I go, bro, the only thing that was missing, they kiss each other and give them a wedding ring. Somebody's got to be out there getting heat and talking.
It sounds like Game of Thrones where everyone got along.
Bro,
There's no heat.
So let's do this. Compare the heat to this angle to Ryan Garcia and Gavante Davis.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Bro, you see
did
Ryan
you just
Garcia,
see the one with Canelo?
Davis?
Did you see the one with the Canelo and the Puerto Rican kid?
No, was it good?
Oh, you've got to see that. Oh,
that's what I'm saying,
yes.
bro.
Oh, yes.
That makes people interested in things.
You're right.
Heat. When they're being hey,
how hard is that to understand?
How much interest would Ryan Garcia and Gavante Davis have had if they were going oh, bro, you're a great champion and stuff I respect you too.
I remember you in the amateurs. Yeah.
Face to face, ready to fight each other, being held back and so that, bro, that's I don't know. It's unbelievable. You have all these guys here in that company, and nobody, even bro, this is even a Jeff Jarrett segment. Jeff didn't want to tell it, bro. We need some heat here. There was 0 heat in this, except for the match. But after the match, it's okay, there's no heat. We're all happy. We're hugging each other because we brought it. It's what I don't know. That's this show. I've been complimenting a lot of some of the shows they've done the past.
Bro, imagine how much heat Swerve would have gotten because nobody's ever done this to him, and the guy's obviously a legend and he's sick. If Swerve would have slapped Jim Ross's hat off, and he goes, "Listen, you old country bumpkin, you don't even know what." That's a stupid question. You're a stupid man. Bro, how much heat would he have gotten?
Yeah, yeah, and just walked up the set, called him a
Right.
punk when he's taking his mic off and dropping you punk.
Right. 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 He
Yeah,
just kept
just
walking. Right.
Oh, it's like they got to like pull up. Their idea of heat on the show was having 3 pull aparts.
Right.
You know, but in the spots where you needed the heat, they didn't have any. I don't know. This show was terrible to me. I thought, to be honest with you.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.